So if you fired up the finale of the Grand Fled Jury, that last episode, Transcendental, expecting a gavel drop or a final objection, you probably thought your file was corrupted. I mean,
Yeah.
we spent 12 episodes in this really tight legal procedural, and then this.
It's a complete left turn. It's not just changing the plot, they're changing the entire genre, really.
Absolutely.
The source text for this one is pretty explicit. It says we are moving beyond adjournment, beyond records sealed.
It's not just ending the trial.
No, it's dismantling the whole idea of the courtroom.
It felt like the text was trying to break the floor out from under us. The setting just, it shifts from a court, which is a system that has rules and walls,
Right, boundary.
into what it calls a field.
And that distinction is so crucial. A court is designed for pressure. It's meant to compress facts to squeeze out a verdict. But a field, as it's described here, is continuity without structure.
That phrase, continuity without structure,
Exactly.
is, well, it's fascinating, but it's also kind of terrifying, isn't it? In a legal system, structure is safety.
Sure.
If you take away the walls, what happens to responsibility?
Yeah, that's the big question. Usually that's a burden someone carries.
Right. The defendant or the prosecution.
But the text argues that in this field, responsibility isn't something you carry. It dissolves into awareness.
So it's a shift from doing something, defending, accusing, to just being.
Exactly.
Which I think brings us to the most radical redefinition in this whole thing. The jury. Well, I had to read this section 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
It says the jury isn't 12 people, it isn't many, and it's not even one.
It's not a noun at all anymore. It's more like a timestamp.
A timestamp.
Yeah, the source defines the jury as the moment you recognize yourself inside what you once called outside.
Wow. So the jury isn't a group of peers judging from a distance.
No.
It's that specific instant of realization where the distance just collapses.
Right. And if you are now inside the event, you can no longer judge it objectively, can you? The barrier is gone.
That explains so much. It explains why the function of the space changes. In a trial, you present evidence because you want a judgment. But here, the narrator says things only ask to be seen without interruption.
And that completely recontextualizes the core themes, justice and truth. We're used to justice being corrective, You broke a rule, so we fix it.
We apply consequence.
But this finale says justice is coherent.
Coherent, meaning it's about things just fitting together naturally, rather than being forced back into place.
That's the implication. And look at how it treats truth. In a courtroom, truth is the result of an argument. It's friction. One side wins.
The other loses.
But here, the text says truth. It does not argue. It resonates.
Like a tuning fork.
Exactly like a tuning fork. It describes it as an alignment.
Yeah.
Effortless. The text implies that if you have to fight for it, it might be a fact, but it's not the truth.
That lack of friction,
Yeah.
that must be what leads to the ending, which doesn't really feel like an ending at all.
It just stops moving.
Yeah, the narrator says there is nowhere left to arrive.
And I think that's the hardest pill to swallow for anyone who loves procedurals. We're conditioned to want closure.
Of course.
But the source makes this sharp distinction. It's not about closure, it's about integration.
So closure implies a door shutting.
Mhm.
You leave the room. Integration.
Integration means you've absorbed the room. You don't leave it because, as the text says, you were never separate from what you were waiting for.
You were the destination the whole time.
It completely removes the timeline. You aren't moving toward a verdict. You're realizing you're already standing in the truth.
It's beautiful, but it leaves us in this very strange place of, well, absolute silence. The final lines describe a silence that's complete and timeless.
And that leads to the final instruction, which is the ultimate paradox for any piece of media, right?
Yeah.
It says, even the need to listen falls away.
And that's where it leaves you. Not waiting for credits, but just in a state of presence. It suggests the highest form of understanding isn't hearing the right answer.
It's reaching a point where you don't need answers anymore.
It's the difference between listening for something and just listening.
Yes.
So here's the thought to leave you with. And it's a bit ironic considering you're listening to us right now.
Yeah.
We put so much value on active listening, on analyzing. But what would it take for you to reach a state so coherent, so integrated, that you could stop listening and just be?
Presence without the effort.
Thanks for taking this plunge with us. Catch you next time.